Hello, this is Kat from FULLsome, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make tofu from scratch. Tofu making is a three-part process which starts with soaking your beans, then it is making the soy milk, and after that it is making the tofu from the soy milk. So this video is going to focus on soy milk making. We have two different types of beans that we use at FULLsome at the moment. The first type is actually, this is edamame, which you may know as green pods with the little beans that you eat at restaurants. Edamame is a bigger bean than a regular soybean, which is the Glycine Max, which you can see here. You can actually see how different they are in size. Now, you can make soy milk out of both of these. I tend to make soy milk out of the Glycine Max more. The the edamame makes a slightly like off-white color milk, but it still is excellent and works very well for tofu. It is more expensive, however, so if you're going through lots of soy milk, it makes sense to use that one. Today's example, we are actually using the edamame. So the first thing I wanted to show you really was, this is 1 cup, the normal 240 ml cup of edamame, and I want to show you how much it swells. Okay, so we've got 1 cup in here. And this has been soaking for about 12 hours, and I'm going to show you a comparison of what the quantity is between the two. Okay, so 1 cup has turned into 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's what you're looking at from a swelling perspective. The soy is similar, but it actually, the Glycine Max soy is similar, but it actually swells to about triple its size, the bean. The Glycine Max requires 18 to 24 hours to soak properly, whereas the edamame only takes 12, which is really ideal if you, say, want to make tofu the next day and you're thinking about it at 8 p.m, you just chuck it in the bowl and by the next morning it's pretty much ready. Okay, so the first step with making the soy milk is to actually blend the beans. We're lucky on our farm we have a spring that directly feeds into our house, so our water is of good quality. If you want to avoid having to buy spring water, and you sort of concerned about your tap water, what you can do is just leave it in a bucket overnight or for 24 hours and let the chlorine, it sort of evaporates out of the water. We do that when we brew beer, so and it does work. Well, we used to do it when we lived in town. If you're using a NutriBullet, which a lot of people have and that I primarily use, 1 cup of beans into your big cup and then fill it up to the line with water and blend. Should be kind of a thick milkshake consistency. Cool, then you're going to get your pot and colander. I highly recommend using a non-stick pot because soybeans, once you strain them, there can still be like a very fine residue which sinks to the bottom of the pot, and with the heat it can catch on the bottom, and it really is a bugger to clean. So learning from my mistakes, if you don't have one, try get one, beg, borrow, steal. Okay, we are going to put our colander into here and get our nifty little soy milk bag. Our soy milk bags are made of like a nylon voile, and the reason why we use this and not cheesecloth or muslin or something like that is because they have like very tight weave and it's extremely hard to squeeze through all the milk. I've got a friend who has literally developed carpal tunnel syndrome from doing that. So we like to have something where the milk pours through more easily. It's still very durable and stands up in heat. So cool. We are going to pour our milk through. You can see it's kind of this milkshakey vibe. And pour it straight into the bag. You can see the majority pours out really easily. And then to speed it up, zip it closed. I like to wind it around the top just in case stuff comes squeezing out. And here we go. Now you can also open up the bag once you've squeezed out the majority of the milk, and they call it rinsing the pulp to get even more extract out of it. I have tried this, and the kind of effort that it was worth to get the extra out of there wasn't great for me. So I prefer just to leave my okara, or the bean pulp that's left over, is known as okara, sort of moistish, and I steam it anyway and use it for all sorts of other food products. Okay, so what you'll basically do is repeat that process 3 times, because we have enough beans. We have 3 cups of beans, and the amount of water that goes into your cup is basically 2 cups. But if you're using a jug blender, if you've got 3 cups of beans in there, you can put in 6 cups of water, or 2 cups of beans, 4 cups of water. That's the ratio. Cool, so the other nice thing about our little boil bags is you can see it's got a bit of residue on the inside. All you really have to do, rinse it under the tap. It comes out really easily if you turn it inside out, rinse it, and then just hang it on something in your drying rack, and it's dry in like 20 minutes. Win. Okay, so you can have a look here. There's our soy milk. It's got quite a bit of froth on the top of it. That's normal. It's just the air bubbles from squeezing. Yeah, now we're going to head over to the stove and cook it, which is actually really basic, but it can go wrong real fast. So we have a gas stove, and I just put it on the highest heat. Put our milk on. One of the things I use, which after having multiple times of having this milk explode all over my stove, we have got these cool little temperature gauges, which I'm hoping to get to put onto the store. Super useful because they'll quickly tell you when your milk is getting near boiling. So I just pop my little temperature gauge in there. It's currently on 20.7, and I know that at our altitude here, boiling point's at 95 on the dot. So when I start seeing it creeping towards 90, I am highly alert. You can also put on the lid just to help it get to temp quicker, but be warned, when it goes, it goes. So we can see I'm up to 55 already. Just giving it a quick stir to make sure nothing's catching on the bottom. You can see I'm on 94.6. We have a look at the soy milk. Put my shadow out the way. It's soon going to start rising as it hits 95. You can see it's starting to bubble, and the head will start to rise. Now you need to stop that from going all over your stove. I just turned off the heat, but honestly, it's not worth it to get it all the way to boiling like that, because if you miss it by a split second, it goes all over the show. So if you have a temperature gauge and you can get it to, 94, that's more than adequate of a temperature that you've got it to, and you can then bring it down to simmer avoiding this whole stove explosion. Okay, so now soy milk is really hot. The idea now is to leave it for 15 to 20 minutes to simmer on a low heat. Also leave the lid off for this part. Okay, so the soy milk is now cooked. It's been going for 20 minutes. If you are now going to just be drinking this as soy milk, the taste is, there's no additives at all. So it's still got a bit of a beany taste. What I recommend is, for people who do like some sweetener in it, is to soften some dates in hot water and blend it in to your milk once the milk's cooled, and then put it through a strainer like one of these guys, just to catch any date residue and any soy milk skin that may have formed and that kind of thing, so that if you're putting it into coffee or something, you're not going to get little chunks. Yeah, but otherwise we're now ready to go to phase 2 of making tofu. So yeah, on to part 2.